Howdy folks, Jabberiki here. Imagine this. Veteran Muppeteer Frank Oz directs a Muppet movie where they go on Broadway. Sounds awesome, right? Well, is it? Let's find out. In this third Muppet movie, Kermit takes the Muppet Gang to New York so that he can bring his college musical Manhattan Melodies to Broadway, but every producer turns the Muppets down. Tied with struggling in Manhattan, the Muppets make their separate ways, while Kermit stays in New York to promote the musical, using a variety of disguises designed by fashion student Jenny. It also turns out that Miss Piggy never left New York and is stalking Kermit while he grows closer to Jenny, which sends Piggy into a fit of jealousy. I did watch this movie as a kid. Out of all the Muppet movies I grew up with though, it's the one I remember the least. Little moments stuck with me, sure, but I completely forgot what the movie as a whole was like. And you know what? I can see why so much of this film has faded from my memories. It's not awful, but man is it boring. Like I said at the introduction of this video, this movie has a great premise, but I think that it's been sadly squandered. Because most of the Muppet characters have gone off to do their own things, we're mainly watching Kermit putting on disguises in a series of failed promotion stunts, which goes against his whole be true to yourself philosophy. Yes, he later admits that this was out of character for him, but seeing him act this way for most of the movie takes away a lot of the charm of who he is. When he's not doing this, he's moping around, feeling sad that no one cares about the play, Jenny hugs him better, and Miss Piggy loses her temper while watching from a distance. It makes for repetitive, dull storytelling that's made worse by how the other Muppets aren't here to spice up the dynamic. We do cut to what the other Muppets are doing, but this comes off as padding to make up for what little is happening in New York. And seeing them all not enjoying these careers adds to the dreariness of the film's overall mood. Yes, we do get to see all the Muppets as babies in a fantasy sequence which inspired a spin-off cartoon, but it's just so pointless. The Muppets babies look cute and must have been tricky to puppeteer, but it adds nothing to the overall plot. There's already barely anything happening. I do like how the film explores the harsh reality of New York Broadway by showing the Muppets struggling financially, teaching that chasing your dreams isn't easy and things don't just land on your lap. It's a truth that audiences can relate to, but the film doesn't take it all the way. How does Manhattan Melodies get made in the end? A producer's son randomly contacts Kermit and says that he will produce the musical himself. Yes, luck plays into success, and sure, handing out the script helped in the long run, but this really undermines the movie's theme of working hard to reach your goals. It also renders most of the movie pointless, and the film was uneventful enough as it was. All along, the musical technically had interest from someone who could support it. We just had to wait an hour to find that out. And looking back, this means that the middle act was padding until the producer's son's letter arrived. I'm surprised that the Muppets don't think, hey, why don't we independently raise the budget for our Broadway production? This would have made the Muppets' dead-end jobs more than just a means of survival, added clearer direction to the story, provided a strong sense of hope, and strengthened the movie's lesson on work values. The film does try to throw a wrench into the simple resolution by having Kermit developing amnesia out of nowhere, and ending up taking on the identity of a soap advertising agent. But this is just as boring as the rest of the film. We've already seen Kermit being other characters for the first hour, now he's pretending to be a dull advertising agent? There isn't even much comedic material to work with for the memory loss plot. There's a couple jabs at marketing culture, but for the most part, the running joke is that Kermit and the other agents share the same dopey voices.
Well, that was a great presentation you made this morning, Jill.
Well, thanks to Phil's flowchart.
Thank you, Jill.
Hey, how about a new place for lunch today?
Okay.
Oh, good.
Not to mention, this out-of-nowhere plotline follows all the cliches of an amnesia arc. He doesn't know who he is, becomes convinced he's someone he's not, his old friends get upset that he's forgot them, then he gets a bonk on the head and he's his usual self again. Why not have the film be directly about Kermit working out who he is without the Muppets? A tale of someone discovering himself in New York. There really is something there to this identity crisis aspect. And I wish the filmmakers did more with it, instead of going for the obvious routes of silly disguises and amnesia cliches. Now don't get me wrong, this film can be funny. The Muppets' distinct sense of humour is there, and it did manage to get laughs out of me. My favourite bit will always be this great gag from Swedish Chef using 3D glasses at the cinema.
Yeah, their popping corn is 3D. Ah, the corn is popping in their face in the 3D.
Yeah, but Chef, that's not how 3D works. Oh, never mind.
Here's your ticket.
Oh, thanks. Sir, your 3D glasses. Sir, your glasses.
But I'm afraid that the chuckles are far apart. There are long gaps of silence until the next big laugh. As per usual for a Muppet movie, we're given many cameos. There's Dabney Coleman, Joan Rivers, Gregory Hines, Brooke Shields, Elliot Gould, Liza Minnelli, John Landis, Art Carney, and many others. These cameos are well done, a lot of them are utilised into the storytelling, and even if an actor is there for the sake of it, they don't overstay their welcome. They may not be cameos everyone today will immediately recognise, but film buffs and 80s fans will enjoy spotting them. Musical numbers are also a staple of Muppet movies, which is more than fitting for a film about Broadway theatre. Many of these songs are more sentimental than your typical Muppet numbers, going for songs that are designed to trigger strong emotions in the audience. There's Saying Goodbye, a heart-wrenching song about the Muppets going their separate ways, which will crush Muppet fans with its somber rhythm and tear-jerking lyrics.
Saying goodbye, why is it sad? Makes us remember the good times we've had.
You Can't Take No for an Answer is an encouraging number about not giving up on your dream projects. It's a solid hard rock anthem for fighting against rejection.
You can't take no for an answer. You can't take no for an answer. You can't take no for an answer.
Somebody's Getting Married captures the emotional roller coaster of a wedding, from the exciting build-up to the joyful ceremony. While Together Again is a lovely song, as it affectionately reflects the intimate friendship that makes the Muppets so lovable as a troupe. The only song in the film that I didn't like was the one by the Muppet Babies. It's just too loud, obnoxious, and like I said, pointless. I know an annoying song is to be expected from baby characters, but that doesn't make it any less irritating. Finally, let's talk about the puppetry. Because the film is shot on location in New York, the Muppeteers had to rely on alternative techniques, as they didn't have the benefit of hiding behind a stage. The Muppeteers do find clever ways of adapting to the outdoor sets. I have to give credit where it's due. But I'll also admit that many shots look a bit, well, gimmicky. I'm all for experimenting with puppetry, but there's lots of shots that are rather distracting. I think they stand out too much because director Frank Oz is drawing attention to Muppet limitations being broken. Don't get the wrong idea, I think a round of applause should be given to the Muppeteers for finding charming, creative ways of getting around the puppet's limitations. But when the puppet effects overshadow the story and characters, that's when I get taken out of the movie. The puppetry itself is still pretty good. I mean, it's the Muppeteers, the highest tier of puppet entertainers in Hollywood. Characters are very lively, letting their strong cartoony personalities shine bright, but because the film demands more emotional moments, the Muppeteers get to showcase their ability to act out these characters' softer sides. There's so much dimension to the performances in this film. To conclude, I think The Muppets Take Manhattan is a sluggish, repetitive, and unimaginative film that wastes a really great premise. The paper-thin story struggles to hold the movie together, and sidelining the rest of the Muppets takes away so much. Sure, it can be a funny movie, the Muppets' trademark humour is present, but the chuckles are rare, making the comedy far less sharp than your usual Muppet movie. I like its harsh take on the reality of chasing your dreams, but this truth is abandoned an hour into the film. I've been Jamboree, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also consider supporting me by making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. So what am I going to be reviewing in the next episode of Puppet Panic? Well, here's a clue. Nana. Nana. Na 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 na. Cheerio, folks.